Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, low.
And folks, today give me some more monthly tournament action. Today we are on Zbuczyn, and who do we have today, Rang?
On the left-hand side in the blue, we have Issa's Luna playing 20th Panzergrenadier with a Maverick income. Right-hand side in red, we have Colonel Koenig playing the 1st French, also with a Maverick income.
So the Blindee, a soft spot in my heart for them, just because of like the whole history they have with the kind of series of games. You know, this game and the last one, the long series that there are. Light vehicles galore. Going to see some solid infantry. How does the P-Grens match up against this?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's a battle of long-range P-Grens versus more shorter-range Frenchies. So it'd be curious to see how it goes in the town. And speaking of town, we got flamethrower troops being rushed into the front from both sides. And then known as the Zbuczyn, usually the town is the center and hot point of action.
Well, that's, some like it hot, and they're completely understandable, too. The town itself, again, we've said this in every single cast with the town, there's always a meat grinder because everyone fixates there. It's a building. It's a nice, obvious target to fight over. The kind of ironic thing about this, though, is that this might be one of the maps where you actually can completely ignore the town, or at least contain the town, and be very successful in the flanks that we're actually seeing down to the south of the Blindee.
Yeah, we're seeing him push quite heavily here. And usually pushing down south, you can get a pretty good capturing of the crossroads flag. It's usually hard to get the run in the middle of the forest. It's such a weird spot. But the main thing is, from that position, if you can hook your way up north, set up along that little tree line there, that's a very good defensive position to be in, and then you just lock it down.
Very, very true. And we're seeing right now, town's already, of course, grinding to a halt. Northern side as well. This is actually kind of the funny thing from the left-hand side of this map. If you have someone like that Stug that has beautiful distance, line of sight over here, just kind of sits over here, keeps guys back from coming downhill. On that northern side, don't have the same kind of, I think, opportunity that you do in the south, but regardless, it is kind of worth paying attention to.
Yeah, and especially the big advantage here for Luna is that those Jagdpanzers and Stug 4s are perfect against the French, as the French only have up to 76mm guns for anti-tank. So at long-range firefight, I mean, it's possible, but it's not exactly ideal. You really want a 17-pounder or equivalent to be fighting those tanks at long range.
Yeah, and all they really have instead is, like you said, well, the rinky-dinks and a couple of M4A2s. Oh, sorry. They do have the one card of M4A3s, but that's not coming over here for the first 10 minutes anyway. We are going to see, actually, I think one of my kind of faintly beloved versions coming in with the Flak Panzer Panther. Just because it's like someone said to themselves, you know what? We have all these really, really expensive chassis around. What are we going to do with them? I know. Let's put an anti-aircraft gun on it that doesn't need to be anywhere near the front lines.
We'll use it on the rear. Don't worry. If it breaks down, it's going to be so much easier to fix.
Exactly. Armor, what's that?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, so both guys, I think, just really kind of feeling each other out. No one with a Maverick income has really been looking to be super aggressive, especially when you're matching up against another similar kind of income. But
I'm
please.
Quite surprised with just how passive this really is from both sides. I mean, even as both sides are playing Maverick, you usually see some sort of aggressive play. I mean, Koenig has managed to get a good, decent territory down south and not a whole lot of bloodshed. But the town is starting to light up quite a bit. We're seeing a little bit of movement here from Koenig. He has a decent amount of fire support backing him up. But Luna just has the bodies in the town, and as well, Panzer IV.
Well, here's the kind of funny thing, too, is that the 20th Panzer, this is not really a Panzer deck. Yes, it's a Jagdpanzer deck, which is still terrifying in and of itself, but they don't really have a lot of mainline front vehicles to be engaging. It's very passive, I would say, almost to a certain extent. You have to be always attacking with foot, which is not something you generally want to do without support. So there's a really kind of weird catch-22 we're going to be watching here. I think the 20th is probably going to be delaying a lot more than the French are. Or at least a counterattack anyway. I'm sorry, please.
Yeah, 20th Panzergrenadier is a very bloody good division for 1v1s. It has a bunch of very cost-effective units, nothing which is overkill. Where you got like your Tiger Paws if you really need a heavy tank on the front line. But for the most part, Stugs and Jagdpanzers rogue around. Yeah, just the spam of Panzergrenadiers. They're not fancy infantry by any stretch of the imaginations. But by God, having 2 machine guns and a Panzerfaust is very cost-effective.
And that's a funny thing, too. So if you stick with the Panzerschreck squad like we're seeing down south in that forest, you have a ridiculously good scratch defense. You have something that keeps guys entertained at long range. You can force back vehicles. It's a very, very well-rounded kind of setup.
Yep. Oh, Voltigier's getting caught out in the open air. As you can see, cover makes a huge deal with those sort of engagements, as Voltigiers have similar firepower of the two 1919s. But Panzergrenadiers in defense, long range, they do quite well. Not well against armored vehicles for 50 cals, but more better suited for squishy, softer targets.
And yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing here, too. And I think this is actually something that we saw to much greater effect in the first game as opposed to the second one. I think the mod deuces over here don't have the same oomph when engaging air power. But we're going to see actually a little bit of artillery suppression over here on the southern part of that town, southeastern part of that town more accurately. And this isn't really trying to go to take anything. This is more just an opportunistic, we see you there, we know you're there, keep your heads down, more than anything else.
Yeah, I find that barrage quite curious, because like you said, it is more of I just want to kill people barrage, or time and time again, complain about it a lot. You really want to be using off-map most of the time for offensive maneuvers and having something on standby to retake a territory. And it seems to be a bit of a race of an artillery barrage. He's probably going to get a lot of decent kills, but he's not going to get territory. And that's a flag position, right? Yeah. And that's,
oh, yes.
You know, he kind of needs you. He's down by 1 point.
But let's be fair. At this point, too, from looking at that position, I don't have a whole lot that I can even remotely throw there. And is he flirting with the idea of bringing that Flak Panzer around? No, he's not. Okay.
No.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, please.
You know, he's very invested, I think, just trying to deal with this southern attack. Because this southern pushes still has legs. The tanks are still alive. The infantry is slowly cleaving through. This is definitely forcing Luna to overextend a little bit, because he's having to deal with this mid as well as dealing with down south. And he just can't get... The problem is the southern force here for Koenig is in a really nice big death ball, so to speak, where Luna's kind of throwing in troops run by run and they get blapped.
And I think that's the reason, actually, that we did see, just as we're thinking here and kind of just theorizing out loud, yes, a bunch of infantry being thrown in, Jagdpanzer being thrown in to kind of contain this. I think that might have been the reason he threw that artillery strike down, to say, okay, you think I'm going to bring troops down to the south, you're absolutely right, I need to do that. But to kind of be maybe a little bit anticipatory, I'm going to go throw down artillery and make sure that you don't hit me in a second position, because I know where I'm weak. So, I don't know, maybe I'm giving too much credence to that. I mean, God vision is a hell of a thing, but I think there might have been a little bit of method to the madness. So
yeah, and it's also helping Koenig quite a lot. At down south is heavily forested, and the French definitely prefer a bit more of a closer repertoire of their opponents, so to speak. And also just having 50 cal machine, no, not 50 cal, 30 cal machine guns. There we go, and all the half tracks is a nice benefit of extra fire support.
Well, you said it, I think, best, is that they don't really like the trees maybe that much because it kind of tends to make them a little bit blindee. They don't see very well. It's missing the forest for all the trees, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, but he's going to be capturing the flag in the middle of the trees, rather. They run the Jagdpanzer will be in a good position to start sniping them. And yeah, it's going to really come down to Jagdpanzer holding this front line. But at the same time, just north, we do have a second little attack here from Luna trying to flank. So this could be a pretty good maneuver. You can hit this little blindee force from two areas and force it back.
Exactly. And you kind of, I think, hit the nail on the head a couple minutes ago when you said the blindee is good, but they don't really have anything to deal with the Jagdpanzers. Because you can see a 145 pen, 130 on the front of that in the first place. If you flank it, you can kill it, of course, but it doesn't bleed very easily. So, kind of an uphill battle in both directions.
Yeah, as you can see, this is forcing Colonel Koenig to fall back a little bit and reconsolidate his territory. And frankly, I don't see him making too many extra crazy plays down south. It's a very effective containment force here from Luna. The other problem is, once again, there's a lot of Panzergrenadiers, but Panzergrenadiers do not like forest fights.
Exactly. That's true. Actually, I got distracted by the fact that we had that 150 in the middle of the map engaging. I think we did see the 57 maybe kill a couple, or was it the M10 that maybe got a shot or two off? either way, we have on-map artillery trying to engage something.
Yeah,
Now,
there we got the mortars as well.
Exactly. I'm kind of actually excited to see that finally at long last. We always talk about the fact that keeping the stovepipes on there, you need more of them. You need a lot more.
Yeah, we're very big fans of mortar half-tracks since... But really, ST-44, they're not as good as they were compared to that game, but, I mean, mortar half-tracks are... We just love them. You can shoot, you can scoot, you can drop smoke. You even got a 50 cal on that runner's route. It's got everything you need.
Well, and speaking of the one down to the south here, this one's actually really retarded Luna's kind of like resurgent push, let's call it. He had 4 nearly full squads ready to kind of push through, retake that forest, and maybe potentially take back that crossroads. But one half-track with a, teensy-weensy little 81mm gun, pop gun, pushed him back, suppresses a lot of them, really slows that down. And so now that Jagdpanzer can't engage, we have the Superior still in there, we have the Char moving on in. So one on-piece artillery can do so much if you give it an opportunity.
Yeah, especially considering down south, the fights get rather clustered, so to speak. Yes. So it's very easy just to do a lot of splash damage and hit multiple Panzergrenadiers and runners. Seeing once again a kinetic fight is being brought out here. Panzergrens have a little bit of favourable terrain here. It's a bit more open in this part in the forest. But it's going to come down to knocking out these few American tanks. Well, they're tanks regardless.
So the on-map artillery, the air artillery comes back in here. And the 150 sees the Bofors. Okay, so I don't think the biplane's going to get taken out, potentially. Okay, the Bofors... Okay, no. But the 150 does see him, so that's going to be coming down pretty quickly. And I guess I'm stunned. Not quite as much as that Stug has just died, but I'm stunned by how much leadership is actually down here to the south.
Oh, yeah.
Several command tanks. We have a scout car. I mean, we have just... There's a lot of radio coverage over here, and I love seeing it. I'm just surprised to see it.
Yeah. Because Koenig has 2 cards of A-phase leader tanks, which is very cool to see. Like, veterancy in this game matters a huge deal. Like, using infantry leaders as, like, the basis of a, infantry platoon, so to speak, in this game can work absolute wonders. And you're seeing here, he's up in these sermons to 3 bloody stars. And there's a lot of Panzergrenadiers coming their way, but they're actually holding the line. Absolutely.
Now, the Pioneers moving on in. These guys can be a little harder to stop, but Pioneers, Superiors, back and forth. I mean, kind of like mutually assured destruction here.
Mm-hmm. The Sappers. Yeah. Got that Cricker throwing army, and we got the Sherman going around for the flank. Oh, Flak Panzer T-34, a little bit more of an economic option in the Panzer Flak Panzer. Oh, he might get sight shot on the...
No, he's against the Pioneers. The auto is going to go after the infantry first. And also, actually, interestingly enough, where he was just far enough from the trees that he can't really see anything consistently. He has to go about another several hundred meters west before it really becomes an option for him.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a look back to the center real quick. Please.
This southern side is just becoming very much a meat grinder now. But while neither side is really gaining territory, it benefits Koenig because he's got the 1311. But yeah, just looking up north and center, it's nothing. Both sides are just chilling.
Well, north there was a Stug. I think the Stug rotated south, maybe got picked off here. There was a minor attempt to push to see the Pioneer over here in the northern part of that town. 2 guys left. There's a small kind of rinky-dink demi push. But demis are very much a thing that I think the French kind of pull out, and those guys definitely did so. They shut it down, they pushed it back, which is not just leaving the 150, it's just to start engaging the middle part of the map and just start lofting HE with reckless abandon. So
I'm honestly surprised Luna isn't trying to push a bit more in the open areas of the map, because we're seeing down south, once again, it's becoming a meat grinder. He could potentially push, southern middle area, across the road. It's in the open, but you still have a decent amount of cover, and Stugs and Jagdpanzers will win those long-range engagements. Because if he was to push from here, he could start hooking around a little bit up north, and then try to put pressure on the southern parts of the town. But he's very much determined in, I think, just trying to get the far southern crossroads.
I think we are seeing some of that, but we're also seeing some Peagrens being rushed into the southern part of that town as you speak. So this is the opportunity when you bring in that biplane and you loft rounds on that concentration of Voltigeurs to the east. Now you have 3 squads that are there. Now you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting some more. But just when that happens, well, you know what? Actually, I take that back. I don't like this right now. I thought he was going to get both those on-map artillery to engage the southern town. But no, he's using it to engage the forest instead. And I don't think that's the right use of munitions.
No. No, when you do see off-map artillery brought in down south here, which is going to work very well for Koenig. It's a little bit off-mark, as we can see, but he doesn't have God vision. He just needs to delay in actions down south. And once you get to see phase, he's going to be in a very good position, economically speaking, as both sides will not have the money really for an offensive push. And Koenig has done a decent job building up a defense up north, and it feels like he might be committing to a wee bit of an attack here, actually. Oh yeah, he's doing a preliminary off-map artillery barrage into the central town. There's nothing there, but I think he is engaged in that position, or will be shortly.
Well, the funny thing is, down south, he has 2 off-maps. Both are engaging in their various theaters. And the 150s that are even trying to engage and push back the French, their legs are getting undercut very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I've seen 10 killers. 10 kills are still getting a couple kills, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little push here from Koenig down south. Actually, didn't go that great for him. It's just enough CQC infantry bringing out the Pioneer spam, which is definitely a good idea here for Luna. Winning those important infantry engagements.
Exactly. But not to be outdone, throws another one immediately right back in. He probably will pick up a couple of kills, which is totally fine. That's exactly what he's looking to do. It's a 14-10, so he can continue just to kind of dither a little bit, I would say. But here's something interesting. Both biplanes are on the map. Both biplanes, I almost guarantee, are going to throw down barrage to the northern part where those half-tracks are and the center part of that map here.
It's kind of making a mistake having both biplanes right next to each other. They're gonna share some flak.
Oh, I forgot that the Blindee actually have a couple of Boita flak tracks. Okay, one of these guys is going down. They're not getting that. That's ridiculous.
It's impressive they managed to like drive one of those things through like the English Channel and then over to the Eastern Front to fight this battle.
That's true. That is very true. I mean, it shows the resilience of the French logistics system. And I'm biting my tongue so hard I think I might be bleeding. But regardless, not really gambling.
I'll call a doctor.
I appreciate that. Just I'm getting distracted by the possibility of big booms. There's a concentrated 155. That's probably going to do very little. Probably stress out the Jagdpanzer. That's great. But I'm more fascinated to see what this off map from the biplanes is going to do. Not very much, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it's like, congratulations, you stressed the guy out a little bit. Oh wait, did actually kill that Sherman, or was it the Pack 40?
I
truly do not know.
Something led to its death, and you got the other off-map Sherman now going up north, suppressing the Pack 40 out of its 50 cals, which is quite entertaining. We're seeing a Voltigeur push into the town as well to follow on through, but more Jagdpanzers went into that concentrated barrage. Good God.
Well, and I'm liking this. The half-tracks, the Blindee is one of those groups that you have to kind of be cheeky with the way that those half-tracks are utilized. They're not just ways to kind of taxi your guys into the front. By the way, P-38 comes on in, probably going to 86. Well, that complex, apparently it offended him. But the half-tracks, for just a mere few tickets, you get to have some firepower. You get to have really cheeky pickups in terms of some territory here and there. Like right now, a few seconds of having a 15-9, that might make the difference of everything. Maybe not in this one per se, but that can make the difference for an entire match.
Yeah, those M5 half-tracks are extremely cost-effective. And yeah, like you said, it's very important for the Blindee because they are a division very much focused around maneuver warfare. And being able to do a good half-track push to get infantry in a vital location set them up, and then you can use the half-tracks to kind of exploit enemy weak points, stress down some 80 less infantry, and make them very much less men in the squad. Yes. And as we're seeing, that little half-track push in the center managed to gain him a decent position. The main problem now is 4 Jagdpanzers, and they're in a pretty good area to hold.
Yeah, and therein lies the issue, doesn't it? Because now what can you do? Well, you bring in M10s? Well, M10s can't actually pierce that unless they get super, super lucky. Or rather, you're probably gonna generally have to crit them out more than anything else. You're probably not gonna kill them too easily.
Yeah, at the same time, it's still looking very good here for Koenig. He's got the 15-9, and he's actually doing a little bit of a sneaky push up north, moving in some half-tracks to try to exploit this area. And considering just how undefended this zone is, he could definitely do a decent push. There's another Jagdpanzer's being brought to the north, which should probably get you in time to stop that push.
And for one more reason, the biplanes are coming right back in. They're just faffing about if you click on one of them. What rubles? Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
So we
come for the commentary, but stay for the name puns.
Exactly. Exactly. If at some point and I don't think this will ever happen, unfortunately, I would love to have someone just be shouting at their screen, "Con!" But I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh man. Anyway, one-off map being called in the northern part of that town. Okay, a little bit of stress, a little bit of Durham and Strang, but not a whole lot else. I think Luna's really struggling to put together an attack now, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they have the firepower in regards to the tank, but they've just been in such a long meat grinder down south, and neither side has gained anything. But that's right, bro. Koenig here.
Oh, it's now. You might want to check that, because look down to the south for a second. Look at this rolling attack.
Oh wow. Good God, that's a lot of firepower. And as you can see, just the nice thing is Blindee is they got some nice cheap tanks like the Stuarts, the Greyhounds, heck, even really the Shermans. Well, the problem with 20th Panzergrenadier is that, like I love those Stugs and Jagdpanzers, they're a little bit more on the pricier side, so to speak. And in a forest fight, you just need something cheap, and I don't need it to be reliable, you just need to have a bit of armor and a gun.
Exactly. But the Jagdpanzer is going to come up here, it's going to turn this advance into dog meat, and, actually, wait a second, you might just get suppressed into oblivion.
Yeah, it's a 76mm Sherman, and at close range, that thing can potentially, maybe, somewhat do some damage.
You better hurry, because... Never mind.
Nope.
Oh well. Yeah, Panzer's going to force that back. Still, this steals more time, more resources, more attention, and congratulations. That's really all you have to do at this point.
Yeah. He's back down to a 14-10, but he still has, I don't want to say momentum, because he's not really pushing, but he still has a very good defensive front line here, and he can keep forcing Luna to fight in CQC locations, which really benefits Koenig.
Yes, it does. So ironically, it seems that the German using a French division is out fighting, maybe an Italian using a German division? I don't know.
I believe Luna's nationality-wise, actually Chinese.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So a very, very different theater than I was expecting all over the place. And not to say that's a DLC that unfortunately we will never see, but that'd be fascinating. Fascinating to get, a couple of national armies, I would say, from over that particular kind of theater. That'd be incredible. And we talked about
Pacific War DLC, please.
Oh my gosh,
please, Eugene. You don't even have to do the maps. We know you can't make maps. Just add the divisions. Come on.
It would just be like the entire thing for any kind of American Pacific division. So the tanks, if you can bring them into water, but they'll immediately sink.
Yes. Or the amphibious landing craft tanks.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The double Ds.
I'll bring it back to the game. The Jagdpanzer down south got blapped, as well as the other vehicles. So this is actually open here for Koenig to push on through.
I was paying attention actually to a Jagdpanzer engaging an M10, an M4A3 rather, in the middle part of this. Do we see what killed it?
In the southern side?
Was it Sapiras?
Maybe.
I'm going to say yes, it was. They're missing a round, and that was the only tank, the only vehicle that deserved that. So that's rough. That's real.
Yeah,
rough.
and that's pretty much going to cement the southern side here, because the Luna's lost all their forces. The infantry are in full retreat, and Koenig has a very effective strike force still alive. There's artillery being dropped, but more just in the counter battery role, and the mortar half track can take it.
Well, in the meantime, we did see in the middle the M4A3 does take out the lead Jagdpanzer, but his transmission was broken anyway, so he's a couple hundred kilometers past his drop dead date. And the converse is probably going to be a rather messy end. Yes, it is. He goes down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just not looking too great here. Both off-map artillery planes now being forced off the map in a quite rude manner, and the southern flank is just getting completely lapped out. M5A1 half-track, the 50 cal version, pushing on through, actually charging the 88.
But the funny thing is, with all the extra suppression that the 88s take, that's actually not really as much of a death sentence as you might suspect.
For the 88?
Yeah, so the half-track, I mean, we talked about the idea that those setup teams take a lot more suppression, really, overall. So if you get the first burst, call it 2 bursts, and actually you're probably in really, really good shape. Just like if you're trying to bring in a Junkers over here after 26 minutes, you're probably not going to get to your bomb run. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah, Junkers are more of an A-phase thing, and it's like 1940. You got to get them in where they don't expect it.
Exactly. Now, we did just see the Panzer 5-4 take out that half-track. So it was 16-8, back to a 15-9, but that's still fine. That's still fine for Colonel Koenig.
Yeah, he can pretty easily just hold a line here. Seems like Luna will be fighting this to the absolute end. Or the Jagdpanzer down south going to be getting in close. That Greyhound is not going to have a good time.
But tell me, what will have a good time as that appears?
Oh, yeah. Things just get a little bit closer.
Yeah, so the Greyhound is going to go down. I think that attack move is going to be... Yep, he's just moving him on forward. So, serves up. There we go. Historical bazookas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Oh, the Jagdpanzer's not going to stop you.
Would you? At this point, man, I'm like, you know what? I just want to end it all.
I just want to ray out of this war.
Exactly. I mean, it's practically to the Russian front anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are going to see the command P54 go down, unfortunately. Now, theorizing over here as we get to the end of this, what was the downfall?
I think terrain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's true. But, what do you do as a 20th Panzer? Do you just throw tons of infantry down south and just pray that it works a little bit better for you? That's really the question, isn't it? I
think you just, from that initial push, you just set up a decent defensive line and then a hold. Don't try to push for the crossroad, and then try to hook around, like I said earlier in the cast, the southern middle area, and then also try to push up north. You want to be pushed on open ground areas where your Jagdpanzers can zone out the battlefield, and then just try to force the battle and terrain which is more preferable to you and preferable to the enemy.
But oddly enough, if you're looking at the kills and losses, there's not that much of a difference here.
No, it's a pretty grindy affair. And looking at kills, Gay, the M10, probably rather gay of the amount of kills he got, knocking out 2 of the Unicorn units from that division, and really nothing else really fancy apart from the Voltigeurs.
And on the other side, shockingly enough, the officer proving he can do something, takes out several vehicles by himself, and Mayer getting Mayer kills than many of his comrades. Werner, decently enough. So it feels like there probably were some minor standouts over here from Luna's squad, but unfortunately not able to parlay that into a more effective result. So
yeah, it just became a war of attrition and trading. And 20th Panzer is great at that. They got some fantastic standoff units. Just couldn't push into any terrain, which gave him the objective.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's why they're stand off and not stand on. I mean, it's one of those, and I mean it without any kind of sense of word punning whatsoever. But regardless, 20th Panzer, still a solid division, but today the Blindee took the day, so really, really well done there.
Indeed.
Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Folks, in that case, then, you know what it means? That means it's time for us to say goodbye. Until next time, I'm Conalwork.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.